So these days, it's more important than ever to tell a good story about our business, and especially if a homeowner or a client isn't so interested in having us sit down with them for 20, 30, 40 minutes, and we don't have that opportunity to do a really great presentation about our business and our credentials and how we do things the way we do to make sure they get a really good outcome from what they're buying from us. So I've got a service that I'm offering that will help you create a video orientation. So the first time the customer's in touch, or before you go out to a customer's home or business, or before you send one of your salespeople out, this orientation will teach the clients what they need to know. It'll help them make a good decision, which is choosing you, right? And it orients them towards your way of doing business, to how you approach business, it helps them make a good decision because you teach them how to do that. So let me just do a quick slideshow and I'll show you what are the 5 really critical components of a great orientation that leads the client to say yes to your proposal. So this is about making an orientation video that pre-sells your customers, so that by the time you put your proposal in front of them, they're already more than halfway there to saying yes. So another way of saying this is how to orient your prospects to choose your business versus the competition. Most of us are selling in competitive environments. So first real big item here to be aware of is that you're responsible for the story being told about your business. So that's whether it's your salespeople telling the story, your service people, other customers and clients, all of your vendors, your competitors, anybody. So the people out in the world are telling a story about your business. Well, the first possibility is if they're not telling a story about your business, well, that's on you. You got to change that. Get people to tell a good story about you. And if they're telling the wrong story, that's on you too. So the result is we want people to be telling the right story, and that's going to boost your sales. That's going to improve your opportunities in the marketplace. So there's 5 elements of a great story. We want to build all of these into your orientation messaging. So this is, again, about how you teach your customers to make the right decision, which is to buy from you. So the 5 elements, we'll go through these real quick and then I'll break them out on their own slide. So establish the buying criteria, preemptive marketing positioning, expert story positioning, customer process checklist, and we want to talk about referrals and testimonials. So the first one, about establishing the buying criteria. This is teaching the customer what matters most. When they're looking to make a decision about this product, this service, what you're offering, we want to teach them how to make this decision because they really don't know. They've never done it, or they haven't done it in a long time. Maybe they did it before and it didn't work out so great. So an example of this being done really well, like FedEx came up with this campaign and said when it absolutely, positively needs to be there overnight. Well, if it didn't have to be there overnight, if you didn't agree with this, then you could go by UPS and ship it and it gets there in a week. Or you could send it, if it had to be there hand delivered by courier, well, maybe that wasn't FedEx either. But if you believed this and wanted this, FedEx was the great solution for you. So they established that as their buying criteria, when it absolutely positively needs to be there overnight. Here's another one, fresh hot pizza delivered to your door in 30 minutes or less, or it's on us. So that was Domino's. They're not saying the best quality pizza you've ever had. They're not saying made with fresh, natural, all organic ingredients. They're not saying a lot of things, but what they are saying is if you want fresh hot pizza delivered in 30 minutes or less, or it's on us, if you agree with that, then they're a great decision to make if that's your criteria. So if the customer agrees with the buying criteria and they see that you're able to deliver on this, you're orienting them towards choosing your business. The next one is about preemptive marketing positioning. This means that you're the first to tell them about your industry secrets. So what do all your competitors know and do, but the customers don't know? So an example of this is like a real estate attorney I worked with was asking him about his business and how he positions himself and what he knows and how he learned his business. He goes, well, I'm on the bar association in my state, and I'm on the specialty section for real estate. I'm like, oh, that's really cool. I didn't know that. He goes, yeah, but everybody is. Every other real estate attorney is also has those things. I said, yeah, but I don't know that as a homeowner. So that's really cool. And if you're the first one to tell me that, and then other people tell me that, it's like, oh yeah, I am too. Well, when you're the first, you get a preemptive position. Another great story is Schlitz Brewing. They came up with this whole campaign where they educated their customers about how they brew, and they use this mother yeast cell that stays consistent throughout generations, and they clean and sanitize these glass lined stainless steel big vats and all this stuff. So the funny thing is everybody did that, but nobody was telling the story. So Schlitz got a huge boost in their sales by telling the story about quality control and what they did. Well, it was preemptive, because now what's somebody else going to say? Oh, we do that too? That's a weak secondary market positioning. So the third thing is expert story positioning. So this means that you share your history, your knowledge about your team and what they know and all your credentials to make your customer more comfortable that you really know what you're doing. So you share with them, how did you learn what you need to know? How can you demonstrate or share this expertise with them? Examples are like, you're writing blogs, or you're talking in public, you're a speaker on these topics. Is your team or you licensed, trained, certified to deliver the product and services you do? So you want to share that. Just to let somebody know that, like, you're licensed and insured. Well, if they don't have to ask you and you tell them that's going to make me feel better as a buyer. Do you belong to any professional organizations? Share those. That implies that there's some oversight and concern, in amongst your peers, that you're going to want to do a good job too. Fourth thing is a customer process checklist. So the truth is that every business has an internal process for how you take a customer and go through, your product delivery or your service delivery, but not everybody shares that process. They think it doesn't matter. So when you take that process and you turn it inside out and you share it with your customer in a way that they get to see, and then it showcases your expertise. You also talk about the quality control that's built into your process, and that the customer is going to get the results and the benefits that they want because you took the time to do this process and create this checklist and this order and the sequence of things that guarantees them a positive result. The last thing you want to have in your orientations is some referrals and testimonials. So these customers are on the edge of making a choice, right? You want to let them know that there's other people that were in that same position and they made a great choice and they're really happy they did. So you want to share some of your other customers' experience that they had with you. And you want to plant seeds now for their future testimonials and referrals when they're a happy client. So those are the 5 things that make a really compelling orientation, whether you're doing it in a trifold brochure or you get to sit down with a client and tell your story. And in these days, I think a video orientation is really a great way to share this information. If a customer doesn't want to have you sitting in their kitchen at the dining table or sitting in a conference room to hear about what you're offering. So again, we want to tell the best story about your company. You want to use these 5 different components, and this makes it really consistent. So it doesn't matter on if it's your best salesperson or your worst salesperson or somebody else or a customer service rep who's not trained in sales. And you want to design this story, this orientation, to orient your customers to saying yes when they ultimately hear your proposal. So that's the concept. If you want to take a look at what it would look like for your business, or talk about how much of that you've already maybe thought about and considered for your business, or you'd like to look at creating this kind of an orientation for your company, whether it's, again, a printed version, a personal selling version, or a video version, let's have a conversation.